Hey, how's it going, y'all? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Pickleball. I'm Rafa, and you'll notice that Aaron is missing today. He's out of town for this early part of the holidays, so we're going to be soloing the pod today. A little bit sad, didn't have him to clap us in on the intro or anything like that. So, but we're gonna get through this today. We also, of course, since he's gone, didn't get to test a lot of equipment this week. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and run through the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals that are currently being run by companies. We've got many that have been covered on a couple of other pods, but we've also got a few that have sort of popped up kind of suddenly in the last couple of days that I noticed were missing from other episodes that were released earlier. So I'll make sure that this is sort of a comprehensive list. And I'm going to go ahead and give these a ranking for y'all. I'm going to use the classic internet S through F tier for you guys, just so that you guys know, discounts are, they're all well and good. Saving money is good, but in the end, you want to be saving money on products that I think are actually worth it, as opposed to some others, which we'll get to a couple of those today for sure. So the first thing I did want to do, though, of course, this segment of the pod is going to be sponsored by PICKLE Universe, where I typically am recording. I'm kind of sad that I'm not recording there right now, because I really love using that space, not just for recording, but also for playing. If you're in the DFW area, would highly recommend checking out PICKLE Universe. More than 20 courts, availability is great, and food is also really good. Something that I notice is lacking from a very, very large portion of the facilities, not just in Dallas, but in general that I visited around the country. So PICKLE Universe is where it's at. Make sure you guys are pulling up there. If you're ever in the area, you might find me there. You might find Aaron there. We'll see. You never know. But thank you to them for sponsoring this segment of the pod. What I did want to just address really quickly before we get into the Black Friday deals is my buddies with the Pickleball Breakers. They are a local group here of pickleball players in the DFW area. They are going to be attempting to break the world record for the longest marathon pickleball rally, which currently sits at, I believe, 36 hours. So they're going to be attempting to play for more than that. If you guys know some of the guys that are sponsored by Volair, some of those content creators out in California, including Sean Munoz, Vinny Pickleball, and I think it's Dink Different Pickleball, and all of those guys. There's one more, and I apologize for forgetting. I'll probably put it somewhere. But they attempted to break that record last week. Super, super difficult to do. They had to pull out probably close to halfway through just due to a medical emergency. But they were looking strong. They were looking like they could get there, but anything can happen when you are doing a physical activity for 40 hours. So shout out to them for the attempt. The Pickle Breakers are going to be attempting to do the same at the end of this month. And the most important thing about this for me is that not only is this a world record attempt, but during the attempt, they will also be fundraising for they'll be fundraising for pro pickleball player Thomas Wilson, which, for those of you who don't know, you may have started watching pro pickleball maybe in the last couple of months, but Thomas was a very, very prominent top 5 pro player on the tour, and has been experiencing some medical issues over the past year, probably year and a half or so, maybe even longer than that for all that I know. So it was a very unfortunate case. It has unfortunately put his pro career on hold for now, but due to the kind of rarity and the intensity of his care, the Pickle Breakers are donating proceeds from the world record attempt to his medical care, which I think is an amazing cause for them. So here is a great opportunity for you guys not only to watch a world record history happen, but also to support somebody in need. So make sure you guys are tuning in November 29th through 30th. The attempt will be at Pickle Universe, which, again, exactly why I love that facility. They're always willing to even lend a hand when it comes to causes like this that they really believe in, that are sort of going to benefit the pickleball community, which I think is awesome. So and if that blurb wasn't enough, have the flyer here. You guys will be able to see all the info there. But I'm also, here is a quick segment from the leader of the Pickleball Breakers, CK Kim. He's going to go ahead and give you guys a quick rundown from his personal take on why the Pickle Breakers are going to be doing this attempt in the first place.
Hey guys, CK here with the Pickle Breakers. We're less than about a week away before we have to do the Guinness World Record attempt for playing over 40 hours consecutively. A little crazy if you think about it, but we're excited to get this thing going. It's going to be at Pickle Universe in Carrollton, Texas. It'll be November 29th and 30th. We start at 6 a.m. on Saturday, and we'll finish roughly around, I guess, about 9 to 10 p.m. on Sunday. We really do need your support, though. That's the most important thing. And the ways you can support us is a couple of different things. We definitely want you guys to come in and donate, because we're going to try to raise as much money as we can for Thomas Wilson during this live stream event. Secondly, we have a tournament going on that weekend on the 29th and 30th as well. So please go to picklebreakers.org, sign up for the tournament, or you can make donations on that website directly. And last but not least, come out to the event. We need you guys there at Pickle Universe. Your support, your cheering, just being there in the environment, just giving us a shout out. That really encourages us to keep going. So please come out to Pickle Universe on the 29th and 30th of November. Can't wait to see you guys there.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, that is appreciate CK for going ahead and giving us the rundown there. But yeah, you guys definitely make sure to check that out, whether it's live stream, whether it's in person. Make sure that you're watching it and tuning in to help out the Pickle Breakers. Make sure to push them through on that world record attempt. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's get into the Black Friday, Summer Monday deals. This segment of the pod is going to be sponsored by Centerline. You guys might not even notice here, but I am wearing one of Centerline's hoodies here. What I really love about this one in particular, you're going to see me wearing this a lot, especially in videos this coming winter. I love this sort of black on black minimalist design here. They do also have some other really, really amazing colors in this, not just the sweater, but also shirts, shorts, joggers, whatever you might need. They've got really, really good variety there, which I also really appreciate. Some of the branding is a little bit more on par, but that's how you let people know that you're repping one of the most comfortable brands that is pretty much pickleball focused for the time being, which is really important to me. I love wearing, there are other sports brands out there that make good stuff that, might be a little bit more well known, I should say. But Centerline is really putting their mark on the industry. I think they are rising rapidly, as they should be, because when I wear their clothes, this is what I like to say. Aaron made fun of me for it last week, but you feel like you're not wearing anything. And no, that doesn't mean that I like playing in the nude, but it means that I like to wear stuff where it's like, oh, I forgot I was wearing that. Oh, this is so comfortable, so buttery soft against the skin that I just kind of forget that I'm wearing it. And that's how I feel in Centerline's clothing. So make sure that you head to the link in the description. My discount code RAFA will get you guys 20% off of everything over there. But we are going to get quickly into a Black Friday deal for them as we go down the list, which will be in alphabetical order. So stay tuned for that, because that's going to start in a few days as well. All right. So with that being said, thanks for Centerline again for sponsoring this segment of the pod. And let's go ahead and dive into the deals. So, and again, we're just going to be ranking these on sort of an S to F tier, and we'll kind of recap the best and the worst ones at the end. This, again, all in my personal opinion, based off of the paddles that I've hit from these companies in recent times throughout the past year or what have you. So we're going to start off with 11624. 11624 is doing a 20% off of all of their paddles. I just noticed that might have ended yesterday. They might have extended it, so I would check it out if you guys haven't already. I believe that the deal was supposed to run through November 21st or November 20th. So that is the main thing for me. So if you're seeing this episode the day it comes out and you were looking to pick up an 11624 paddle, it's 20% off paddles, and then my discount code RAFA will stack on top of that, which is a really, really sweet deal. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the A tier. I think that especially if you're looking at, a really the predecessor to the SLK era, essentially. One of the very first paddles to do floating core foam fully and do it well, the 11624 Alpha Pro Power, in my opinion, and the Power series in general. I think those are really fantastic paddles. They're honestly might be in the running for paddle of the year at this point. So definitely go and check that out. That's an A tier for me. And the 11624 gets an A tier for me because they make great stuff. Okay. So ADV is the next one I've got on the list. They are doing essentially free gifts with purchase that sort of go up and up in terms of quality or price as you purchase, as your purchase amount goes up. This is running from November 24th through December 2nd, so starts in a few days here on Monday. Again, you can stack my discount code RAFA to go ahead and get a further discount on the products that you might be looking at. That is good. That is also a really, really nice deal for me. That is also going to go in the A tier for me. I think ADV and Forward right now make better bags than anybody else on the market. I don't think it's particularly close. And so any type of discount that you can get, any type of freebies that you might be able to get from ADV or from Forward, I think are always going to be worth it, especially if you're looking for either for ADV specifically, if you are looking for they have one SKU of bag, their flex bag, that is really for just like on the smaller side, the general pickleball player, probably 80% of players would probably just need a bag that size. But they also, if you do play tournaments and you are really serious about your game and you want something that's super high quality, they do make their much larger Pickleball Pro bag, which is a little bit more on the expensive side. So the discount code does come in handy, but I think it's well worth it for the quality and amount of time they spent on it. So great deal there from ADV, personally, in my opinion. Okay, so the next deal I've got here is actually on Babolat. So Babolat is doing 20% off site-wide, and that's pretty much all comprehensive shoes, including pickleball shoes. I've only talked about Babolat once on the channel, and I actually don't have a discount code with them. But if you do find a discount code that's on social media or something, their discount codes are stacking with the site-wide. So I just wanted to let you guys know that existed. I don't talk a lot about shoes in general. I am going to start doing more of that though, so foreshadowing. But Babolat, I want to talk about them in particular because I know that Ben Johns wears their shoes along with a couple of other pros on the tour, so people have been really interested about those in the past. But personally, 20% off the shoes. I think the shoes are already fairly good quality. Oh, also the deal runs from my understanding November 27th through December 1st. So that is the deal over there. I'm going to put this one in the B tier. The reason I put it in the B tier is just because I do not believe in the durability of Babolat shoes. I think that there are other shoes that are more durable. I think Babolat gets really good rep because, again, it's worn by pro players, but I promise you those players are probably running through those shoes extremely quickly. So that's going to go in the B tier for me, but still not a bad deal from Babolat, just to kind of have there. Okay, so the next deal I've got here is actually from Bodhi Performance. So this is one that I got sent recently, so I'm just going to pull it up here really quick. So Bodhi currently this year, so what we're going to be doing is the following. Let me find it. Jeez. This is one I got more recently, so I didn't get to put it in the spreadsheet just yet. Let's see. So what we're going to be doing here, again, the sale period is actually a very, very short period. It's next week after Thanksgiving. It's November 28th through the 30th. It ends on the 30th at midnight. So what we're going to be doing is 25% off site-wide using code BF25. So make sure that you guys are using that. You get an extra $10 off some of the Pro Tack packs. So that's the tacky formula that Bodhi uses, my personal favorite grip. So you're going to get an extra $10 off of the 30 packs, which is pretty insane. And then lastly, oh, actually, they included the colors. So it's going to be lilac, teal, sky blue, purple, and blush. So those are going to be the 5 colors in the 30 packs that you can get, because it's going to stack on top of the discount BF25, which is nice. And the last thing is that all orders over $200 are going to get a free performance towel and a pack of performance arm sleeves. So that's pretty sick. If you were looking to order in bulk, I mean, that would be the time. So November 28th to 30th, going ahead. 25% off site-wide is super sick. Again, I think that Bodhi makes some of the best grips, some of the best tuning, some of the best tape, weighted tape for paddles. In general, paddle modifications, 99% of the time, even their grip socks, which are kind of a surprise to me because Bodhi is not super known for apparel, but I really don't play in anything other than the grip socks right now, by choice. They don't sponsor the pod or anything, despite how much I talk about them. But yeah, I just think they make genuinely good stuff. So that is, again, no stackable code from my understanding, but 25% off. That is going to get you an S tier from me, especially because the new weighted tape formula that Bodhi came out with is actually cheaper than tungsten or lead or other weighted tape varieties that are out there. So not only are the grips and the weighted tape, in my opinion, already in a really affordable spot, but the fact that you can get 25% off of that more, I mean, these grips, weighted tape, especially if you play competitively, are things that you need all the time. So that's going to be an S tier for me for getting those down to even more affordable during that short period of time for us. So great stuff there from Bodhi. All right, so next is going to be Body Helix. So Body Helix is running a promo on their paddles and their apparel. They're doing 40% off paddles, 70% off apparel. That's running November 22nd, so starting tomorrow through December 1st. And if you use my discount code RAFA, you get a free gift with any purchase made over there. It's a good deal. I think that the 70% off the apparel is probably what I would look at most, because especially the shirts from Body Helix, I don't go out of my way to purchase a lot of company shirts, but I did go out of my way to purchase a Body Helix shirt. So that is definitely something that I would recommend. When it comes to the paddles, I personally don't think that Body Helix has done anything super insane. I think the Flick F1, while being the most powerful paddle still on the market right now, when putting it through its paces, just didn't have the sweet spot or really the performance and other characteristics I was personally necessarily looking for. But it's a fine paddle. So I'm going to put that one in the B tier personally, just because, again, I feel like the bigger deal is the apparel and not necessarily the actual paddles themselves. But hey, if you're looking for cool, good apparel, especially a good shirt, I haven't tried any of the other apparel, but the shirts I can definitely vouch for. So, but still, decent deal there from Body Helix. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one here. I actually believe there might be one that I'm missing out on, but I could be wrong. So let's see, because I may have just skipped over it. Okay, I don't think I missed it. We're good. I was wondering if another company in particular. I thought I got a different email this morning, but I was incorrect. Let's move on. So next on the list, Bread and Butter. So Bread and Butter is doing probably one of the best promos here, because they're doing $30 off Locos and then $50 off of pretty much the other pro performance paddles. So like the Shogun and the Fat Boy, for example. $50 off the Loco is insane. If my memory serves me correct, I might have seen that they sold out of the Loco. I could be wrong. I would definitely run and check that out just in case, because I do think, again, the Loco in particular is a candidate for Paddle of the Year. I think it's an insane value at $30 off. You can use the discount code Bada Bing for the Loco. It's BADABING. There is no stacking on that code for my personal code Rafa. There is also, you don't need a code for the other paddles, just for the Loco. $30 off is insane. It's November 19th through December 2nd. That is going to get an S tier for me purely because of the Loco. I think being able to bring a paddle of that caliber again into the market at $170, very, very competitive price. And yeah, that's like the fact you can get 2 Locos for a boomstick, and those are 2 paddles that play very, very similarly to me or have very similar levels of performance. I would say the Loco's a little bit softer than a boomstick. makes it easier to feel the ball. Honestly, it's my personal preference. So yeah, I would definitely go check that out. That's an S tier for me. The next one is going to be Centerline. So again, I talked about Centerline at the top of the episode. They are sponsoring this segment of the pod, but they are again, they do performance wear in pickleball in particular. They're doing 40% off site wide, which is absolutely insane. It's November 24th through December 3rd. So again, starts in a couple of days here. That is going to be an S tier from me as well, just purely because, actually, let me not go too crazy. S tier, I really want to reserve. That's going to be an S tier for me. Obviously, I truly believe in their apparel, and I truly believe that they make some of, if not the best apparel for pickleball play. So they're going to go into the S tier for me because 40% off is nuts, right? Some of their stuff is not necessarily cheap, but it's because it's made very durable, really high quality, and you're not going to want to take it off. You're not going to want to play in anything else, in my personal opinion. I find it difficult to play in other apparel at this point. So Centerline is going to get an S tier for me. Going 40% off is absolutely nuts. So looking forward to that. I'll probably be taking advantage of that as well, even though I get some of my stuff direct from them. Shout out to Forrest and that whole team over at Centerline for hooking me and Aaron up. But I'm going to have to buy some more of my own stuff, I think. So that's one that I'll personally be using. Okay. Now we get to Chorus. Chorus again. So Chorus did run into an issue with their logo. So this is great timing for them because they are severely discounting their current line, and anything that has the original logo on it, they're making a new one. They need to get rid of the current inventory that has it. So that is all to y'all's benefit because they're doing 50% off Supercourt Echo and Daylight paddles. I do believe there is also a discount on Phoenix paddles. I don't know if those are available still anymore. But 50% off of those paddles. That's November 26th through November 30th. I think that is a really sweet deal. The Supercore and the Echo paddles are probably what I would personally go for. And it's really if you want to maximize your control on the court. So while they're good paddles, they were already at a really, really good price. I was tempted to put this in S. I'm going to go ahead and put this in A just because the paddle performance, I feel like people are really into power right now. If you're not into power at all, then this probably bumps into an S tier for you because that Supercore paddle and those Echo paddles, they are quite good for Echo being Gen 1 and the Supercourt being Gen 2. Those are control paddles that I turn to a lot if I was to just recommend a control paddle. And for them to be in like the $60 to $70 range, chef's kiss. So great stuff from Chorus. Again, that's the 26th through the 30th of November that's running. You could stack my code RAFA for even more savings there. So easy A tier for me there from Chorus. All right. Now we get to Carbon. So Carbon is doing basically anywhere from 10 to 30% off of their paddles and off of their bags and apparel. So it's a wide range of things that they're doing there. It runs November 24th through December 3rd. You can stack my code RAFA there again for some extra savings. I think that Carbon's, they came into the market with something super unique in the Genesis and the True Foam Genesis. And then when they came in with the True Foam Waves, which is, by the way, excluded from the promo. So this is just on any paddle that's not the Waves that you can get that 10 to 30% off. I personally think that if you had never purchased from Carbon before, that the Waves is probably the best paddle they've got. So the fact that they're excluding it isn't necessarily... you hate to see that, basically. That Carbon promo is going to go in the B tier for me. I do think that the Genesis is a good paddle. I do think that there are better paddles that you can currently get even through the Black Friday deal for cheaper, not just from what I've already read, but also, as we scroll down the list, there's going to be probably some more, or there are some more. I'll tell you that right up front. So we're going to go in a B tier there from Carbon personally. Okay, so next we're moving on to Diadem. So Diadem is doing paddles and shoe, basically their whole site, 30% off over there. This includes the Blue Core, which is their newest which is their sort of newest paddle there. This is running from November 23rd through December 2nd. There is no code stack here either. Personally, I think Diadem has had a rough go of it this year. I don't think that they've really brought insane value to the market, in my personal opinion. I met some people that love the Blue Core. The Blue Core Edge is significantly better than the Blue Core. So if you if you need Diadem, then I would go for, I'd go for the Blue Core, the Edge Blue Core, I should say, one of those 4 models, which were decent paddles. But overall, we are going to throw that in the C tier for me. I just don't think Diadem has really done a bunch for the market right now. And yeah, I just think every time I say I put a deal pretty much below the A tier is because I think your money is just better spent elsewhere. So that's just my personal opinion. Okay. Next, we're looking at Engage. So Engage is doing basically doing anywhere from 15 to 30% off their paddles. They're doing 15% off of their newer alpha paddles, and then 30% off of older models like the Pursuit MX and all of those. I think that here's my thing about Engage paddles, and I haven't talked about them a lot on my channel, just because they, I just haven't. There's some brands that are like that for me. Also, just to continue through the info, the promo is November 3rd through December 31st, so all the way through the end of the year. I currently don't have a discount code with them, but you can get their paddles through Pickleball Central, which they are also running some Black Friday promos. We'll get to that later. But if you do find another content creator that does have a code with them, then their code will stack on that 15 to 30% off. This is going to go in the C tier for me. The reason it goes in the C tier for me is because my one issue with Engage paddles is I do think that they are overpriced. I've only hit probably one Engage paddle that I genuinely thought did not play well. There was only one. That was the Pro Foam for me, which seems to be excluded from the promo in the first place. But in general, the Alpha line, the Pursuit line, they're great paddles. They are just a little bit overpriced for me. So doing 30% off, yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, it gets them like down to probably the 200-ish mark, maybe even more than that, probably more than that. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably like $90 off. It gets you under the $200 mark for sure. But the problem is that there's already other paddles, like we talked about 11624 earlier, where their floating foam paddle is already at 200, and they are further discounting from there. So, I mean, do with that info what you will. I think that, if Engage had started their prices around the 250 or lower mark and then discounted from there, that it would be a better deal. But you're not really going to see that. So that's going to go in the C tier for me. But moving on. So, Enhance now. So Enhance is doing pretty much 40% off of their paddles. That's a pretty insane deal. It's all of November and all of December. It started when they launched the Duo paddle, which is a paddle that I want to find time to review if I can, because I really, really, really enjoy that paddle. At minimum, me and Aaron are going to be talking about it as we do full podcast episodes on floating core Gen 4 paddles, the next 1 or 2 episodes. So make sure that you guys are tuned in for that. But yeah, that Duo paddle is awesome. I think the Enhanced Gen 4.5 is a go-to recommendation for all court, in my opinion. So those paddles are really fantastic. You can stack my code Rafa on their site for more savings there. That is going to go, I want to put it in the S tier, but we're going to go A. We're going to go A tier for Enhanced, guys. Again, it's a great, great, great deal. It brings really good paddles to an affordable price point. Depending on how much more time I had spent with the Duo at this point, I maybe would have put it in S, because it's really, really, really promising. We're going to go in A tier. It's still a fantastic deal. I definitely would check it out. Okay, so next we've got the Forward bags. So Forward is doing 25% off their bags plus a free gift. I already said this is running all of November, so November 30th, I presume, is when this ends. There is no code stacking in this case, but like I said earlier, I already talked about it with ADV. I think that Forward, it makes some of the best bags in pickleball. I think that is And I don't think it's close. So if you are really looking for a forward bag, 25% off is a really sweet deal. As you get into the Cord Caddy and their kind of more premium models, they do get pricier. So 25% off, still gets you above the $200 mark for a really good quality bag. That for me is going to go in the A tier. So just because, again, we start off at a high price and we are discounting heavily, we are talking about a product that I personally use on the daily and really highly recommend. I do also see the side of it's pricey for a lot of people. So that can't go in the S tier for me. It's going to go in the A tier. All right. So now we've got Franklin. So Franklin is doing 25% off site-wide. The primary thing here is that they are excluding the C45 paddles. I really love Franklin's tour bag, their pro pickleball bag. I hope that it's out by the time that this promo is out, which is the November 21st. So starting today through December 3rd. There's no code stacking there though. 25% off site-wide is good, but I do think that the C45 is the main reason why people kind of think about Franklin and pickleball in the first place. So for me, that's going to go in the C tier. I think people would have been more excited to have the C45 included is the main thing. So I think 25% site-wide. I do think the FS Pro pickleballs that Franklin makes are very good. So if you are not necessarily looking to buy lifetimes, but you're looking to buy another fairly durable ball that I've had a good experience with, the FS Pro is what I would go for. And that's the first kind of ball promo that I've seen. So yeah, definitely head to them for that. But other than that, C45 is not being included is kind of a bummer to me. Okay, so now we get to Gearbox. So to Gearbox, we've got $100 off the GX2 Original and the Pro Ultimate Series exclusively. That's running November 26th through December 1st. There's pretty much there's no code stacking there. So that is going to go in the C tier for me as well, purely because I don't think that after hitting more and more paddles this year, I think the GX2 Original falls much, much further down the list for me as the year goes on. And I was never truly a fan of the Pro Ultimate Series other than the 16 millimeter. I thought the 16 millimeter was quite good. $100 off isn't chump change. I mean, that's more than a 30% discount on those paddles because of their price point. But I just don't think that they are the best that Gearbox offers. I think if you're going to go Gearbox, you probably go GX2 Power, which discount code Rafa only gets you 10%. So I think if you're looking for a Black Friday deal, that Gearbox does not have the best one, in my opinion. Okay, so now we go to Gherkin. So Gherkin is doing 30% off pretty much site-wide. It's November 21st through December 1st. So we are going to, and if you stack code Rafa, you will get an extra savings on that. That is going to go in the B tier for me, for Gherkin. The reason for that is because there is one paddle that they make where 30% off would go crazy, and it's their newest Wraith paddles. I actually wish that I had time to review those as well. Of course, I can only review so many paddles before the end of the year, especially. But when I think about a paddle in the price point of 100 to let's say $110 to $150, 120 is probably better. 120 to 150 in my mind, based on the paddle pricing that I've seen, is a specific area that gets addressed. And I do think that Gherkin makes probably the most recommended paddle in that category, especially if you're looking for something powerful but on the lower side of power, very easily controllable, really nice feel off the face. There's a lot of positive things I could say about the Gherkin Wraith. So getting 30% off that paddle in particular, amazing. But I do think that they do make some budget paddles. They had, some more control oriented paddles that they launched first into the market. I just don't think that those are as good as their competition. So, but still, getting 30% off the Wraith would be something that I would very, very highly recommend if you're looking for a paddle kind of in that price range with that power profile. So it's going to go, that bumps it up to the B tier for me. So I think that that's a pretty good promo from Gherkin there. Okay. So next is Holbrook. So Holbrook is doing 50% off of the Arma paddles. They're doing 50% off the Armas. If you use my discount code RAFA50, it's going to get you 50% off the Arma paddles. I made a video earlier this year about how the Armas aren't necessarily breaking at the rate that people think that they are. And so that I think is a huge thing to keep in mind, because for a lot of people, the Arma is Based on a survey that I did, the Arma is one of the least durable paddles on the market. From my personal experience, that hasn't been true. I think Aaron might tell you a different story. But he also, the more recent, they've updated their production. The more recent models that have come out have been much, much better and much more durable. That Aaron would likely attest to as well. So yeah, I think they've come a long way, and to do 50% off the paddles from November 18th through December 2nd, I think that is an S tier. I think that, again, there is such great performance of those paddles, and they would have been even more popular than they already are if they didn't have the issues early on, which now that they resolved them and they're still going to discount 50% off of the new models, that's awesome. That's going to go in the S tier for me. I will say Holbrook is also working on something else really, really cool in the very, very near future. Obviously, you're not going to get this kind of deal on them, but if you were looking to get the absolute number one best performance from a Holbrook paddle, the Arma might get dethroned soon. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now we're on Honolulu. So Honolulu is doing it's a lot of different stuff. It's essentially anywhere from 5 to 10% off anything from their Gen 4 through their Gen 2 paddles. That's going to be it's going to run November 28th through December 1st. So it's coming up at the end of the month after Thanksgiving. Of course, discount code Rafa will stack for extra savings. I already think the world of Honolulu's foam paddles. I think a lot of people do. This is going to go in the B tier for me, though. I think that, especially, I think right now the shiny new toy from Honolulu is the Gen 4 foams, the NF, the FC Plus, right? Already being at $200 and only discounting 5% isn't the best Black Friday deal. I think Black Friday deals aside, those are some of the best performing, most affordable paddles on the market. Definitely up for paddle of the year. But just from a Black Friday deal perspective, I don't think that's an insane. I don't think that's a crazy good deal there. So we're gonna go B tier for Honolulu, in my opinion. Okay, so Honolulu is doing $50 off of certain Pro 4 paddles, and they're also doing sort of 50% plus discounts on kind of older paddle models and kind of and their apparel as well. I haven't necessarily had an amazing experience with Yola apparel. Obviously, $50 off the Pro 4. I think the Pro 4 is one of the best paddles. From a performance perspective, one of the better paddles that I've hit this year. Obviously super, super popular. So if you were looking to kind of get in on the Yola hype because you see everybody around you with a Yola, then I could see that working out for you. The deal runs November 17th through December 2nd and does not require a discount code. But that's going to go in the B tier for me. I think that the Pro 4s are overpriced for their durability. And so $50, I would honestly need to see 50% off, kind of like what Holbrook did, to kind of make up for how less durable than the Armas, I would personally say the Pro 4s are than those. So goes in the B tier for me because it's a good deal. It's really high, especially on the older models, but yeah, that's B for me. Okay, so now Luz. So Luz is doing basically anywhere from $10 to $40 off of their paddles, and then 10% off any non-paddle products. You can stack my discount code Rafa on top of that, and I do believe that this goes for the Luz Cannon, which is another paddle of the year candidate in my personal opinion. That's going to put Luz in the A tier for me. To bring such an affordable paddle that plays so similar to the Yola, which we just talked about, and then to make that even more affordable on top of that for this Black Friday deal, chef's kiss. And I think a lot of people would be surprised at how much they like the Luz Cannon if you do play a Pro 4 paddle. So I just want to throw that out there. That's going to go in the A tier for me. Okay, so now we've got Neonic. So Neonic is doing 10% off site-wide aside from the new Sidekick backpack. Now here is why I don't think that's necessarily a big deal. That backpack is already $100. It's $100, so it's already a really nice bag there. It is running November 24th through December 10th. You can stack my code Rafa for more savings over there. And I do think that is going to go solid into B tier for me. The reason I say that is because, again, the Sidekick backpack really bumps it up for me. But I think that paddles wise, Neonic hasn't done a lot in the recent era. It had a really, really good feeling paddle when it first came out in that Flare Prime X. But outside of that, I feel like they're working on something in the background. I think we're going to see something better from Neonic soon. So that's going to go in the B tier for me purely because of that kind of anticipation and because the current inventory is not something that makes me super excited right now. Okay. Paddletech is doing 30% off Bantams. So that's running November 26th through December 1st. There is no code required there to get that deal. That is going to go into the A tier for me. I do think the Bantams are still some of the best and some of the most durable power paddles on the market, as long as you don't mind having that smaller sweet spot. I think, with some modifications, especially, weighted tape, I think you can minimize things like that. But the Bantams just have it might just be a personal thing, but I think the Bantams are amazing. I think there's a reason why so many pro players before the Pro 4 from Yola came out were switching to the Bantams. They were switching to those paddles. And again, their durability, it just can't be argued. So that's going to go in the A tier for me from Paddletech. Okay, now Pickleball Apes is doing 25% off the Harmony and Pulse lines from November 24th through December 2nd. You can use my discount code RAFA to stack on top of that. That is a really fantastic deal. I think that the Pulse line is criminally underrated. I do think that the Harmony line, when you hit it in the beginning like I did, it was kind of average, but then as you hit it more, you realize why so many people like it and why they continued the sort of four corner foam design onto their new paddles. So I think personally, I didn't speak highly of the Harmony when it first came out. I think I may have been wrong on that. I think if I had gone back and hit it more, there could have been some promise there. 25% off of those though, that's going to go solid into, it's not A tier for me, but it's like very, very top of B tier. I'm going to put it in B tier, but it is towards the top of that. I think if you like Apes paddles, I think, again, the Pulse line, criminally underrated. Would highly recommend checking it out, especially because you can stack my code on top of that. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I'm really close to putting it in A tier, but I need to be a stickler about these because there's so many deals. Okay, one thing that I did skip over there, over in the G area, was Grooven. So Grooven sent me info on their promo today. Let me go ahead and pull that up here because I think that was a pretty sweet one. Yeah, so apologies, going a little bit out of alphabetical order here. But essentially what Grooven is doing is November 28th through December 1st, what they're doing is $99 on the Laser 16 HD solid foam, which is one of my favorite foam paddles that I hit this year. The only problem is that it is going to be sunset on May 1st. So if you do purchase that paddle for $99, which is pretty good, you get 70% off of any other Grooven paddle through May 1st when the Laser HD is sunset. And you can also pretty much get up to 50% off of any other paddles, the nets that Grooven makes, as well as anything that they make for padel, their bags, or paddle boards. So that's a lot. It's a pretty much site-wide up to 50% off. But the really big deal that sticks out to me is that $99 HD solid foam. I think if the solid foam was going to be going to go longer than its sunset period on May 1st, I would put that into A tier, but it's also going to go into the top of B tier for me. Grooven is also, they're coming out with their new formulations of the HD solid foam very, very soon. So I'm anticipating that as well. It kind of factors into the decision. Again, just from a Black Friday deal perspective, is not one that, I think there are better deals out there at this current time, and I would personally wait for the new 16 HD. I feel like they're going to be really good. Okay. Moving on. Now we've got Pickleball Central. So Pickleball Central, again, they are a huge third-party retailer for all of the the vast majority of the popular paddles out there. They are doing 30% off, pretty much up to 30% on new paddles, balls, nets. And they typically already discount their used paddles, but they're doing an extra 25% off of those. You don't need a code for that, for the promo. It's November 12th through December 1st, so already in effect. And, geez, guys, I've been talking a lot. But yeah, so they're running pretty high discount codes over there. I may look and get sort of a list of the popular paddles that are being discounted in actuality, just because it's not typically every single major paddle that they offer on there, especially when it comes to the new paddles. That is going to go into the B tier for me as well. Again, I may change this afterwards if it's off of really good paddles that I come to find out, but without that it goes in the B tier for me, because I feel like it's typically not on the popular paddles that everybody wants. Hey, sorry, y'all. Quick change of scenery here. Don't mind the change. I would record this later in the studio with some more time, but I do want to make sure I'm getting these deals out to you guys as quick as possible. And we've just got a few left, so let's go ahead and finish up the list here. The next one we just talked about, Pickleball Central. I also want to talk about Pickle. So Pickl, Pickle, as in the brand that sponsors Hurricane Tyler Black and Gabe Tardio, among a couple others. They are doing 35% off site wide. For me, I feel like the most innovative thing that Pickle has done is come with their Pickle skins, which I would point to, but they, from my understanding, primarily work on the actual Pickle paddles. I also don't have any personal experience using them, so keeping that in mind, 35% off is a nice deal. It's November 27th through December 2nd. I don't personally have a code with them. There's also no code stacking required to get that deal. However, just with where Pickle is in the market right now, I think that I believe they've been teasing a foam paddle among some like rumor channels for a while. That hasn't quite come to fruition yet. I think the Hurricane Pro and the Vantage Pro, I think they're both fine paddles, but nothing insane and nothing that I would really, again, spend a ton of money on. So for that reason, we are going to go ahead and put Pickle in the C tier for that deal. The next is going to be Rhombus. So Rhombus is doing $10 off the Quanta series beyond using my code RAFA to stack. And they're also doing 25 to 70% roughly off of other paddle models. Really the only models that I would stick away from are the Refoam. I think the Refoam is just not where the rest of their paddles are, to be honest. I feel like the big thing here is the Quanta. The fact that the Quanta is $10 off further, which is already going to get you pretty much to the $100 mark, and then you can stack discount code on top of it to get it to around 90. That's insane. The Quanta has already been one of the most successful affordable paddle launches this year, and if you do know how to weight your paddle up properly, that Quanta is absolutely insane value for the price. So with that being said, that is going to go into the S tier for me. The deal runs November 26th through December 2nd, in case I didn't already say that. So make sure you're picking that up next week, right before Thanksgiving starts. But yeah, that is a great deal from Rhombus. I'm glad that they are kind of, again, bringing a super good paddle to an affordable price point. Always going to be good in my book. Okay. Next, we're going to look at Selkirk. So Selkirk is basically doing free gifts with purchase and pretty much discounting pretty super high discounts on older paddle models. They're doing this from November 3rd through December 7th, so it's already in effect for you guys. You can use discount code INF-RAFA to add a gift card to your to add a gift card as well to the Selkirk store. I'll say right now, Selkirk's deals are always bad. I think that Selkirk probably knows what their paddles are worth. I've seen their R&D process. You know, it helps me understand why they price where they do. but just from an affordability perspective, it's not there. And they very rarely run deals that I think are worth it even during the holidays. So this is gonna be the first deal that I'm honestly gonna put in the D tier. I don't think that there is it's cool. Again, get the free gifts, get the store credit, whatever. But unless you're super duper on the Selkirk train and will be for the time being, it's really not worth it, in my opinion. Okay. Now we get to 6-0. So 6-0 is doing 40% off the double black diamond and 25% off of the ruby. I do believe they have discount codes on their bags going as well, but there is no code needed to access any of that, so it'll just be on the website when you get there. It's running November 16th through December 1st. So already in effect up until December. Here's the thing. I think that the double black diamond and the ruby are both really outdated. Again, unless you want a really good control paddle, there's like which both of those paddles are. Then again, nothing too special about that. But I will admit 40% off the double black diamond isn't nothing, and it is going to get you that for a really good price. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into the B tier because I do think that, especially with the amount of spin that the newer models of all 6-0 paddles are getting, I think that, it's pretty, when you go for a control paddle, at the minimum, in my opinion, you also want good spin. I think that those are at minimum the two things that you would want to see out of your paddle. If you go for a more control model, they're the two things that help you kind of soft touch and spin are the two things that help you shape your balls the best. So, and I think 6-0 does that well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go B tier on there. Okay, next we're going to do Thrive. So Thrive is doing 20% off site-wide. I am already a huge fan of the Project Fury paddles, in particular the elongated. I think it's probably the best paddle that they have ever released. For me, it is the pinnacle of a kind of 3S alternative with a more dwell feel to it. I think if you compare the Yola 3S to the Pro 4, the 3S is the softer of the two, but it is a firmer, more tingy feedback response. The Project Fury for me was if you took a 3S, which I did enjoy in terms of performance, but not in terms of ball feel, and you gave it that more plush, dense ball feel, which I really, really like. And it's already at up $200, $199 essentially without code. My code does stack on top of that. It applies that 20% actually, I apologize. It doesn't stack on top. It applies the 20% discount code. So make sure you use code Rafa to get your 20% there. That is a great deal, to get that paddle for, roughly 180. For the price is actually 160. You're getting that paddle for 160. To get a Project Fury for 160, I think is one of the better deals that you're going to see. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the A tier. I think that Thrive makes other paddles that are decent, but none as good as the Project Fury. And again, it's another paddle that I wish I had time to review. I may have time to at least do a mini. But yeah, it is definitely a paddle that made a big impression on me. Okay. And next we're going to Titan. So I personally, I don't know if many of you know this, but I personally use the Titan to do a lot of my drilling, especially for videos where you might just see drill footage of me as opposed to game footage of me. It really helps me dial in paddles and really kind of understand, their performance, kind of isolating different types of shots, which is really helpful. I personally have not found a single ball machine. I've known about Titan ball machines for over probably 2 years now. I've not found a single ball machine to be better than a Titan. So those are some of the best out there. If you use code BLACK5 from November 18th through December 1st, you get $350 off those. They are expensive, I will say, unless you are really, truly, genuinely focused on actually improving your game and solid practice, and you don't have a reliable person to practice with. I always think it's better to practice with a person to simulate a real game scenario, no matter what a machine can do. But if you find yourself, needing a machine with really, really, really extensive capabilities, no type of paywalls to get anything, any of their features either, which I always respect. then I would go for a Titan. I don't think it's worth it to spend money on any other ball machine, in my opinion. So that is going to go into, I'll put that in the B tier. I do think Titan ball machines are really, really expensive, but $350 is much more than a lot of the other promos that they're running. So it's a very, very high B tier, almost A tier for me from Titan. All right. And the last thing, or actually not the last, second to last, we've got Vatic Pro. So Vatic Pro is running $10 off all of their paddles. You can stack code RAFA for more savings there. It's going to be November 24th through November 30th. I already think Vatic Pro paddles are priced extremely, extremely well. But to know that you can get a VSOL for $89 and less than that, with discount code, that's insane. That's going to go in A tier for me. I think the VSOL is probably one of the paddles I slept on the most this kind of end of the year, as there was a bunch of releases coming. And I think it is an insane paddle for $99. You guys will get full thoughts on that. I will be doing a review on that one for sure. It's already in the works. So you guys are going to get that soon. But yeah, in general, Vatic now has kind of a little bit of everything, right? They have their power paddle in the VSOL, they have their all-court paddle more so in the Segas, and then they have their control paddles in their, original, what were those paddles called? In their original paddles. The same affordable paddles that everybody talked about all year last year, right? So yeah, that's gonna be an A tier for me at the minimum for Vatic. All right, and the last deal that I wanted to talk about today is and again, another one that I got just this morning. It's going to be Vatic Pro. Oh, sorry, not Vatic. It's going to be Volair. So I'm going to search for Volair real quick, because again, this literally came in maybe 5 minutes before I started the episode recording. Okay, so Volair's Black Friday sale looks like it just went live today. So it's going to be running today, November 21st through December 3rd. There is no code needed or stacked on these, but essentially what they're doing is a BOGO. So you're doing a BOGO on either the Mach 1 or 2 Forzas, the Control 1 or 2 Forzas, the V.1F paddles, the Pro paddles, the Real Tree Pro 1, and the Betty Boop Pro 1 in particular. So there are sales running on the website, and you're going to get to do a BOGO of any of those paddles. Again, I think Volair has kind of struggled in the past year. I got to go to an event during Worlds to see what they're coming out with next, and I do think that's going to be really, really awesome. So just for those reasons, I think because we've got a much better paddle on the near horizon, in my opinion, and the deal is just a BOGO for a control paddles that aren't necessarily even best in class anymore. I would actually say the Mach 2 Forza is probably still probably one of the best wide body control paddles you can get. I don't think that's a debate. Pretty much outside of that, they aren't offering too much. I'm gonna go C tier for Volair on that one. And that completes the list. I know that was a ton of information. There's a ton of lists there. I'm going to try to recap here the best I can. So make sure that you guys are liking, subscribing. If you made it all the way here to the end of another episode, thank you so much for watching. We really, really do appreciate your support. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.